Welcome to TroyPSilva.com. This week's video blog is on the top 10 team hitting rules that we have to help your team hit to their best ability and to help them focus on what the ultimate goal is as a hitter versus just their individual stats or their individual accolades. So the top 10 team hitting rules that we have, these aren't the only 10, these are just the top 10. We have a whole bunch, but we actually post these on our dugout. We got to make sure that we're training our kids on a regular basis to embed these into their brain so that they understand how to compete for their teammates and to do the best they can. So you guys can take these, put them on a t-shirt. I don't care what you do with them, but use them as you please. Take these, you like these, you don't like those, do whatever you want to do. But these are the top 10 that I use that I've seen tremendous success with when it comes to a team hitting approach. So the first one is all about competing confidently on every pitch. Compete confidently on every pitch. A lot of times these days we kind of play a lot of baseball, right? So they're playing games every day and they're tired. They play a weekend tournament where they're getting 6 games in a week, and it's easy to lose focus. It's easy to lose confidence sometimes if you're kind of 0 for your last 10 or whatever. But what it does to get in the box every time with a confident approach is it helps your team understand that you're going to compete no matter what the circumstance is for them. You can compete confidently starting in the dugout and on deck too as well. You're learning how to evaluate the pitcher. You're learning how to see what the pitcher does. You're learning how to create this focused mindset when it's your turn to get in the box and get in there with the spotlight on you. So to compete confidently every pitch is just basically your ability to believe that you're the best hitter on the planet every time you step in the box, to create an aura amongst the team that everybody on the team is going to be a hard out. And if you learn how to do this, your team is definitely going to pick it up a notch because you're going to learn that these guys are going to want to compete for one another and create extreme focus on every pitch that they see. So basically tell your players to learn this, to do this every day in practice and learn how to do it. Compete confidently on every pitch. The second one, these are in no particular order by the way. The second one is never get out of the way of the pitch. Never get out of the way of the pitch. Now, obviously, we're going to use good judgment. I'm not saying if the ball is coming at your head at 90 miles an hour to sit there and wear it off the dome. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that you got to learn that base runners produce runs, which produce wins. So even at our younger ages, you got to be smart with this too. I'm not going to sit there and tell an 11-year-old that's fearful of the ball to get in there and wear one for the team. I'm just saying that as the kid gets older, when they get into that kind of high school level, they get a little meat on their bones. We got to teach them to roll with the pitch and to wear one for the team basically, and to be smart about it too. If the kid's blowing gas and it's at his head or something, I'm not going to sit there and say wear it, but when you get base runners, it makes the pitcher work out of the stretch, it makes pressure on the defense, and base runners produce runs, which in turn helps the team win. So make sure we're being smart about it. Don't go posting it all over the place that Troy's this jerk with, he doesn't want 10-year-olds to get out of the way. I'm not saying that, but use your best judgment to understand that when you take it for the team, you're helping your team win. The next one that we have is, as a team, we tell our kids, you never strike out looking, ever. Now, are they going to strike out looking? Yes, it's part of the game. I struck out looking. Everybody strikes out looking, but it's the mental attitude and it's the daily BP and it's the daily practice that we have that we teach them to never strike out looking. Now, obviously, there's bad umpire calls, right? The umpires will call a foot off the plate sometimes or in the dirt, and we can't get mad at that. But those borderline pitches, we got to teach our kids to really compete in that aspect and to really learn how to adjust and widen their strike zone. So when we say never, we really want them to think that they never strike out looking ever. Is it going to happen? Yes. I'm not saying you have to take a kid out at 12 years old because he strikes out looking, but we want to make sure that they understand the importance of competing and not being that guy that takes one looking. Taking one looking to me is kind of like putting your tail between your legs and just going back to the dugout saying you're better than me. Good job, you got me. So just make sure that use good judgment on this too as well. So when I say never, we want to teach them never, but at the same time, never means we want to do our best to really embed that into their head. Another one is never get cheated in hitters counts. So those even the 1-0 counts, those hitters counts where you're ahead in the count 2-0, 3-1, where you know that fastball's coming, you're never going to get cheated. So we take man hacks. We have a thing at our place now that we call hammer time. You get that pitch, you're going to hammer it. You're going to have some hammer time in that pitch, in that ahead in the count swing, and we never get cheated. So getting cheated means you're kind of getting jammed up. Getting cheated means you're late to a fastball. Getting cheated means where you're not giving max effort on your bat speed or your mindset of what you're trying to do. So when you got that ahead in the count swing, we tell kids all the time, hammer time, let's go, fire it up. Don't get cheated. Never get cheated. This is one of those never get cheated things. I'd rather see a kid pull a ball down the pull side than be late with a 3-0 or even a 3-1, 2-0 count. So just make sure that they're really training themselves, even in BP, to never get cheated when the count's in their favor. Another one is don't pop up with a runner on third base with less than 2 outs. You got a runner on third base, especially with 2 strikes. If you got a runner on third base, we don't pop up. We don't pop up to the infield. We're trying to drive one into the outfield and get a sac fly, or depending on what the defense is doing, we're trying to hit a ground ball. Yes, believe it or not, Troy Silva says it's okay to hit some ground balls sometimes to score runs, because those runs produce wins. So when we say don't pop up with a runner on third, I don't want a kid going to the plate thinking, oh, don't pop up, don't pop up, don't pop up. Troy doesn't want me to pop up. But we're having this attitude of we're going to compete and we're going to do our best to hit the ball hard, low, hard on the line, or drive one into the outfield to the best of our ability. Basically what it comes down to is score the run at all costs, at any cost. We have kids get jammed to the shortstop and they score a run, and it is what it is. We want those kids to be fired up that they score that run with less than 2 outs. So just be aware of it, really work on it. And just have the attitude of not popping up at all with a runner on third base. Another one too is to make smart approach adjustments per pitcher. And what that means is what I want our guys to do is basically pay attention in the dugout. I want our guys to understand what their out pitch is, where they locate the ball consistently. Is their velocity fast? Is their curveball thrown for a strike? I want hitters to be able to make intelligent approach adjustments per pitcher, because most pitchers, especially from that kind of little league age to like high school, they have serious tendencies that they'll give away. You get into college ball, there's not a lot of tendencies, but there's still a lot of tendencies. If that makes sense, there's still tendencies given even at that level. But the idea is to set a plan and approach for you individually that's going to help you adjust to the pitcher versus thinking the pitcher's going to adjust to you. So we tell our kids all the time, he's not going to throw it where you like it. You can't just go call a timeout and say, hey, dude, I like it at this speed in this location. Like, you got to really, really learn to adjust to what they're trying to do. And we tell our kids it's basically paying attention. Instead of horsing around in the dugout, doing whatever you're doing, pay attention. Get up on the fence, seeing what's going on, and you're analyzing, did he miss low? Did he miss high? Does he throw a changeup for a strike? Can he throw his curveball for a strike? Those are all things that if you put them all together, it gives you an adjustable approach. So when you get in the box, you have a plan versus in there thinking about whatever it is you're trying to do with your swing. Another one too is we drag bunt a lot. So of all my years of coaching, I don't think we've ever sacrificed bunted. And the reason why we've never sacrificed bunted is because we work on drag bunting, and we get so good at drag bunting that we don't really need to sacrifice bunt. So there's times where it's a sacrifice situation, but we still try to drag bunt to put pressure on the defense. So that's not a philosophy that everybody has to have. I get it. You have to sacrifice as you get older and stuff like that. But when we work on drag bunting, we work on it to the point to where they're going to basically get it perfect where they want it or miss foul. So, and you guys that run a little bit too, especially with the game changing, with the BB core and all that kind of good stuff, you got to be able to drag bunt and get a bunt down. So our rule is we never, ever drag bunt back to the pitcher. We put so much time and effort into drag bunting the ball where we want it. And if we bunt it back to the pitcher, it's just a waste in at bat. Now, there's times where, it's late in the game, runner on second. If it's back to the pitcher and you move him over, it's not that big of a deal. But our goal is our mind frame is to never let that angle of the bunt be bunted back to the pitcher. So, yes, I'm talking about bunting right now in the top 10 hitting rules because you got to be able to do it. But if it goes foul, you still get to hit. I see too many kids these days wasting a bat by trying to drag bunt. They bunt it back to the pitcher. They're out. They just wasting a bat. So just make sure you're aware of if it goes foul, you get to hit. If it goes fair, it's probably a base hit. So never, ever drag bunt back to the pitcher. The other thing we talk about is having a short memory. So one of our major rules is whether it's a great at bat your previous at bat or whether it was the worst at bat you've ever had, you flush it, you move on, you have a short memory. It's always good to kind of roll on the momentum, roll on the good swings that you're having and really have that confidence, but at the same time, we tell kids, get over it. You pop up, get them next time. Look at the pitcher and say, you got lucky. I'm coming at you again. Don't bring that to me again because I'm going to get you next time. So that short memory, good or bad, teaches them to get back to the kind of that first one is to refocus and to be able to compete confidently on every at-bat, every pitch. And that short memory, good or bad, makes you focus on the here and now versus what you did in the past or vice versa. So having a short memory is definitely something that if the team takes over on that, you won't see too much high and low. You'll see a lot of teams that kind of get down on themselves because they're dwelling on their last 3 at-bats or whatever. And they get up in the last inning and they can't even be confident because they're dwelling on what happened in the past. And then there's also teams too that get too cocky, too high, and they can't get back in there and focus again. So Another one too is being able to put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Are you going to strike out? Yes. Are you going to basically strike out a lot? Probably yes. There's probably some of you that strike out quite often, and it's not a horrible thing to strike out. But at the same time, we have this mental rule. It's like you put the ball in play with 2 strikes. We have this attitude of you're going to confidently put the ball in play with 2 strikes. You're going to widen your strike zone, put it in play. And the reason is, when you put the ball in play, you give yourself a chance. When you don't, you don't. So there's times, and you guys have seen it, where you'll bloop one over the first baseman's head or you roll one over in the 6 hole and you get a hit. You got to put the ball in play with 2 strikes or you don't even give yourself a chance to get on base. So the strikeouts will happen. It's not a horrible thing to strike out. It's never a quality at bat on a strikeout, no matter what anybody says. I don't think a quality at bat is ever a strikeout. I don't care how many pitches you saw. You still struck out. Anytime you're walking back to the dugout on a strikeout, it's never a good thing. Oh, he got 15 pitches up. Well, that's not that big of a deal to me. You got to make sure you get the hitting up. You know what I mean? So the attitude of not striking out is just a mental toughness thing too as well. It's an attitude. It's an attitude of I'm going to be mentally tough and I'm going to battle because I believe I'm truly better than that pitcher versus, oh, you got me. Oh, you got me. You're just good pitcher. Good job. You can't ever have that attitude. It's more of a it's not an attitude of I'm never striking out. It's more of an attitude of I'm just better than you and I don't want to show that you're even competing with me on my level. So put the ball in play with 2 strikes. Strikeouts do happen, but if you have the attitude as a team of we just put the ball in play, you'll see that you'll manufacture some runs without even trying really. And then the last one I really want to focus on, the whole point of this video and the whole point of giving some team hitting rules, I guess, is to teach kids that it's not about you. To teach kids, especially in this day and age, with showcases and they play on 50 different teams and they go over here and they travel to Arizona for this tournament and they go do perfect game that and they do all this stuff. It always becomes about them. It always becomes about it's my batting average, because if my batting average is good, I'm going to get more opportunities to play at the next level versus doing your best to compete right now for the team that you're on and the level that you're at. Because if you do that, guess what? The next level happens. If you don't do that, if you're a horrible teammate, if you're such a selfish kid that has selfish at-bats all the time, number one, you're not helping your team win, and coaches want to win. So they want guys that can compete a little bit. So yes, your batting average is important. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, no, your batting average doesn't matter. Yes, it matters a lot. It matters, but at the same time, it's not about your batting average. The team that you play on, it's not about your batting average. It's about enjoying your teammates. It's about competing for your teammates. And it's about doing the best you can do to help your team win that you're on today. So that's kind of the overall point behind this whole video, is teach some kids some selflessness when it comes to hitting. It's okay not to get a hit and score a run. We got to teach kids that. It's okay. That's why I do like the quality at bats thing. I do like the attitude of, hey, I high five you. You get this because you scored a run and you sacrificed yourself to be a good teammate and to score a run. Too many times we're taking selfish hacks, and I'm all about selfish hacks. When we're in a 2-0 count or a 3-1 count, I want a selfish hack in those counts, but you got to realize it's not about you. So the point of this video is to create a team hitting chemistry that everyone abides by, that everyone really dives into and that loves it, and to really, really teach these kids to compete for one another. Teach them to compete for each other and to do whatever we can to basically score runs, because that's the ultimate goal of baseball, right? Is to score some runs. So these top 10 hitting rules, post them wherever you want. Make a shirt out of it, I don't care. But just if you want to adjust them, the idea behind this as well is to come up with some team hitting rules. So if you have some different ones, there's a whole bunch of them, but these are the ones that we use. Put them up there, post them on your dugout, and get your kids to believe in these rules that you set so that they can compete for one another. God bless.